call the meeting to order. I will declare that we do have a quorum. The media has been notified. I will entertain a motion for approval of the agenda.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
Okay. I have a motion by Mr. Obie, second by Dr. Etheridge, excuse me. All those in favor of approving the agenda as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, the agenda has been approved. Please join me in the opening prayer and pledge of allegiance. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of February 25th, 2014?
You do, Madam Chair. I move that we approve the minutes of the regular meeting, February 25th, 2014. Second.
Okay. I have a motion by Dr. Etheridge and a second by Mr. Cooper. All those in favor of approving the minutes for the regular meeting of February 25th, please say aye.
Aye.
The minutes have been approved. Our next item on the agenda is citizens' comments. We do have one citizen comment this evening. Before calling our citizen up to the podium, I would like to read the citizen comment procedures. In order to conduct the meeting in an orderly and efficient manner, we ask that you honor the following guidelines. Stakeholder comments are welcomed and encouraged. However, the board will not take immediate action on public comments at this meeting. Any person wishing to address the board must register prior to the meeting. Comments must be regarding programs, policies, or procedures. Comments regarding an employee or student other than the child of the speaker will not be heard in public session. Groups addressing the same topic should select one speaker. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. The board chair reserves the right to allot additional time or halt public comments that do not adhere to these guidelines. I would like to call Mr. David Dick to the podium.
Good evening, board. Thank you for allowing me to come before you today. My name is David Dick. I'm sure you guys all received my email, which, by the way, let me apologize first off. It might have been a little bit passionate email. This is in reference to Remembrance Day, the true name for Memorial Day. And I stood there and said the Pledge of Allegiance. I'll be honest with you, I still get goosebumps after all these years. I served my country for 25 years. And I will say, having my child attend school on Memorial Day, is, in my opinion, is a slap in the face. I think there was other options that could have been used, hence the scheduled makeup days. Just give you a little background on myself. I was stationed here in the early 90s. I left for 5 years, but I kept my family here in Berkeley County because I liked the county, I liked the school district. I had 2 daughters that graduated Berkeley County, Stratford High School. Now I got a daughter in Cane Bay. But never in the 20-some years have I been so disappointed in this board than I have to this day. I think it's ridiculous, and I think it was a wrong that needs to be made right. I understand there was. I talked to, at first, while I'm on that subject, I want to thank you, Ms. Shannon and Mr. Phil, for responding to my email. They're the only 2 that reached out to me, and I want to thank you guys both, especially you, Ms. Shannon, because you spent countless times on the phone talking to me and explaining the rationalization. I know it wasn't an easy decision. I get that. I know the position you guys are in is a tough one. However, there was a calendar in place, a calendar that was sent home to the parents in the beginning of the year. These are the dates in case of a makeup day. I'm from the north. Snow days is new down here, but it's nothing new up there. I will tell you that they've already missed too much school to make up for snow days. They're already going into the second week in June. third week, and in Pennsylvania the second week in July. But one thing I will tell you, graduation was not canceled. Yes, it was postponed. Testing was not canceled. Yes, it was postponed. Another thing wasn't canceled was Memorial Day. Was not canceled. 4th of July was not canceled. They are going to make up the school required for them to graduate, but none of the holidays was taken away. And I understand you read the back of the comments about nothing the citizen brings up will be voted on today. I surely hope that this gets rectified today. Because I'm going to tell you, as much as I am for education, I am a strong proponent of education, my daughter will not be in school Memorial Day. And I can tell you right now, there's tons of Berkeley County citizens that are on the same page as me. That's pretty much all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dick. All right, our next item of business is administration and facilities by Mr. Franchini.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Dr. Thompson, members of the board. ASCD is a worldwide professional organization, and it has tenets that relate to the whole child. And in those tenets it says that each student will enter school healthy and learns about and practices a healthy lifestyle. Each student learns in an environment that is physically and emotionally safe for students and adults. Each student is engaged in learning and is connected to the school and the broader community. Each student has access to personalized learning and is supported by qualified, caring adults. And each student is challenged academically and is prepared for success in college or further study and/or employment and participation in a global society. What I'd like to have the opportunity to do tonight is to talk to you about how we in the Berkeley County School District are dealing with those first four tenets of ASCD as we look at the whole child. A little bit later on in our agenda of reports, Dr. O'Gorman will talk about the academically challenged and preparing them for the world after school. Our positive school climate goal, as you can see, we have a child or an adult here, and we are looking at them mentally and physically, and making sure that they are in an environment where they can learn, and also our adults can teach and can work that is safe and secure. Our areas of focus for positive school climate this year is determined by the board with securing the safety of students and staff in our school buildings to foster a caring learning environment, to deliver the approved projects of the 10-year capital building plan within budget, scope, and timeline, and provide quarterly reports on new construction, renovation, and capital improvement projects. Tonight we're going to give you an update on health and nutrition, student support, facility improvements, and also safety and security. Health and nutrition. The Berkeley County School District has cooperated with DHEC to provide almost 6,000 doses of flu vaccine at school clinics this year. We also complied with the new state requirement to implement the Tdap vaccination for all of our 7th grade students. We worked very diligently and with the Department of Health and our school nurses and our principals to make sure this happened. Nurses were added this year at Macedonia Middle and Howell Hall Ames, and the full-time nurse supervisor position was reinstated. We have provided first aid and CPR training to all of our bus drivers, daycare, and Head Start workers. And we also have provided defibrillators at 24 school locations, including 2 at each of our high schools. 9 of those were donated to us by Roper St. Francis, and they've conducted training at the schools where they donated them. They have been used twice within the last year and have saved lives as a result. Our child nutrition department is serving less processed foods and more locally grown fruits and vegetables. They're making improvements in food presentation and offering expanded food choices in our school cafeterias. We want our children to eat healthy, and we want them to eat smart. Our district summer feeding program served almost 150,000 meals at 68 sites. We have Backpack Buddies operating in 3 of our schools, which helps to provide weekend meals to our students that may not have them. And 14 of our schools are participating in the MUSC Lean Team Wellness Program to encourage students and adults to develop a more healthy lifestyle, not only at school but also at home. We provide a multi-tiered approach for student support to our students. I know you can't read what's on this triangle, but hopefully you can read it at the hard copy that you have or on your computers. And we provide that support from classroom teachers, from administrators, from guidance counselors, mental health workers. Any number of individuals are there to support the needs of our students that they may have emotionally as well as academically. We have trained almost 4,000 employees this year in Darkness to Light training, which is a child sexual abuse awareness program. The Berkeley County School District continues to be a leader in Darkness to Light training. We are, to my knowledge, are the only school district that continues to provide face-to-face training, and we have also provided trained a facilitator in every one of our schools. We are also the only school district that's currently doing the face-to-face training on the new version of Darkness to Light 2.0. And one thing that we're very proud of is that we are making plans now, and I will actually begin this tomorrow night, training in our community, offering our services of our facilitators to civic groups, to churches, and others within our community so that we can continue to spread the word and help to end or continue the awareness of child sexual abuse and how we can end that in our community. Counseling services, our staff currently consists of 89 guidance counselors, 13 behavioral therapists, 4 social workers, and 4 mental health counselors. Additional support and personnel training we have provided suicide prevention training, threat assessment, homeless identification, smaller learning communities, particularly in our high schools, and also counseling for military families. We continue to have 2 student-to-student programs, one at Marrington Middle School of the Arts and also Goose Creek High School, where our students serve as ambassadors to the children of military families that move into our schools to help to acquaint them to the schools and to the communities. Therefore, it is a military child to a military child who understands what it's like to move around a lot. These are excellent programs. In fact, the Marrington Middle School program a couple of years ago has won a national award and was recognized for the program that we have. So we're very proud of what our students do in addition to what our professionals do in our school. Facility improvements. You can see in the upper left is one of our storefront security upgrades that we've done. This particular one is at Hanahan Middle School. 19 of our schools will receive upgrades to controlled access. Designs are in progress. In fact, we've just received approval from the Office of School Facilities for 9 of those, 19, and they will continue to work on the design process and approval for the other 10. And new systems will be installed by the summer of 2014, but we will begin before then. Surveillance cameras, as you've seen in a previous presentation that I've done, the picture in the bottom left there is a photograph taken from one of our brand new cameras, and hopefully you'll remember that the old camera was very fuzzy. You might be able to tell that somebody was in there, but now you can find out what color their eyes are, and so we're very excited about this. We have installed a little over 1,700 new Internet Protocol cameras throughout the district. Knox boxes. A Knox box is a box that is installed on the outside of every school. Inside that box, we have a master key, we have a list of emergency contacts, and also a map of the school which has emergency shutoffs. Keys to this Knox box are given to local law enforcement and also to our fire departments in case that there is a need to get into the school and not have to wait for a key holder. As a principal, I remember many times being called to my school by Sonatrol and said, we need for you to come to the school because we think there's an intruder in the building. Or I had one time that we hear fire sounds, but we need you to come to open the building. Fire sounds. Not that they were going to go on in, but again, what this does is, and we do know that all of our principals don't live next door to our schools, so this will allow easy and quick access to our school by our law enforcement personnel and other emergency personnel. And we're also upgrading security lighting in 10 of our schools to be completed by the summer. In fact, 4 of those schools are already completed. Facility improvements. Dr. Thompson mentioned at the last board meeting about emergency notification. We have panic buttons that have now been installed at all reception desks, and training is currently in progress. In fact, it will be completed by the end of next week. This is just a button that is at the secretary or the front receptionist's desk. Therefore, she can, if she sees an intruder, doesn't want to pick up the phone and then be threatened for making a 911 call, she can press that button. It goes immediately to law enforcement, and they can respond immediately. Also, we have 911 capability on the Sonatrol keypad, as Dr. Thompson mentioned at the last meeting also. If someone is coming into the building, particularly when they're first opening it up, they see that something is awry or they may hear a noise. Some of our schools, we don't always have good cell phone coverage, but also you don't want someone to hear you say, you know, I'll call 911, I need the police, because then it draws attention to you. They can press 911 on the Sonatrol keypad and exit the building, and once again, law enforcement will come immediately. Fire alarm upgrades have already been done at Marrington Middle School, Berkeley Intermediate, and Sedgefield Intermediate schools. And in order to comply with our 911 regulations, address signage has been added to each one of our schools so that it is easy to see from the road. Bond projects. I really like this graphic because it shows the depth and breadth of the bond projects that we are embarking on. You've already had an update on these from Ms. Myers at an earlier meeting, but you can see we go all across the school district and the county from Cross down to Clements Ferry Road, to Marrington, to Goose Creek. We have several projects that we are undertaking in order to meet the needs of our community and the growing community that we have here in Berkeley County. Our goal is to deliver our projects, approved projects, included in a 10-year capital plan within the budget and scope of the timeline. Just as a reminder, the Stratford project is scheduled to be completed on February of 2015. There we are adding approximately 13 classrooms, 2 labs. We're also expanding the cafeteria, which will have an additional seating capacity of a little over 200 additional students. If you've ever been in that cafeteria, you know that even though it was added onto, it's still extremely small. The next in elementary school, if it will stop raining long enough, we will have that completed in May of 2015. The Cross High School, we are very proud of the look that it's taking on. We are, just as a reminder, we're taking the old multi-purpose room and media center and converting that into an auditorium that will be able to be used not only by the school but also by the community. But it will also still, at least in the beginning of our current drawings, still have a multi-purpose field where it can be there for other events for the community. We are renovating the locker rooms, which are in very bad shape at that school, and we are taking some classrooms that are no longer used for their purpose and turning them into a new media center that can be used not only by the school but also by the community. And you'll remember that in the Cross community there is no branch of the Berkeley County Library System. The Berkeley County Library System, have they been involved? Donna Osborne, and I can't think of her new name, married name, but she has been involved in attending our meetings, and they're very excited about this possibility. We're going to have a place for them to park the bookmobile, and it will be easily accessible for the community. Marrington Middle School of the Arts has no place to perform unless they go down the street to Goose Creek High School or one of our other schools. Our plans here are to build a performing arts center for them, as well as do renovations to the arts classroom, the gymnasium, and some minor renovations to the cafeteria. Goose Creek High School, the goal is to have that completed by August of 2016, and as you're already aware, that's going to be a total remake. We'll be doing some demolition, some new addition, and also some renovation to that school that is long overdue. And of course, on the drawing board now is the new high school for the Clements Ferry Road, Daniel Island area, which is scheduled to be completed in August of 2017. The Tanner project, as you know, is delayed currently due to the rezoning not being approved. The Clements Ferry Road Elementary and Middle School is in the procurement phase, and the Fox Bank Elementary School is in the due diligence phase. We also are beginning to look at where we are with our facilities. As you know, that we have some facilities and some equipment, even though that we have done, I think, a very good job of maintaining them, that some of those things are going to eventually wear out just as they do in your home. Your HVAC system is not going to last forever. Our roofs are not going to last forever, and other mechanical things are not going to last forever. So we need to be able to plan for those and be able to know that when the life cycle of those are, and begin to plan and therefore budget for those as we need to when we look at capital improvements. Safety and security. We have a new safety hotline that we have posted the signs in all of our schools, and it has been added to every campus, and it is now fully operational. And I would like to demonstrate it for you if I can make this thing here work. Well, obviously not.
We're sorry.
Well, I apologize. Jeff? Huh? No. It's still not working.
Thank you for
Here
calling
we go.
Berkeley County School District's Anonymous Tip Line. Please note that this is not an emergency hotline. If you are confronting a life-threatening situation, please hang up immediately and call 911. This OK Say It tip line is for any student, parent, or community member wishing to report a situation that involves bullying, harassment, weapons, violence, vandalism, drug or alcohol abuse, or any criminal activity occurring in or around a school or district office. You do not have to identify yourself, and your phone number is not being captured or traced. At the tone, please leave a message with as much information as you can, and school officials and or law enforcement agencies will be notified of your message. If you wish to be contacted, please leave your telephone number and name. Thank you for your call and your commitment to keep Berkeley County schools safe.
At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, simply hang up or press pound for further options.
I want to report Rodney Thompson. He's bullied me all week. And this hotline is checked several times a day by our new district safety officer, Tim Knight. If it is something that warrants being reported to law enforcement, then he does that. If it's something that can be dealt with at the school level or the school SRO, he does that. And he can also weed out those that are just somebody saying, Archie doesn't like me, or Archie's rolled his eyes at me, or something like that. So we believe that this is going to be a very positive thing for our school district. As I've already indicated, we have a new safety officer for the district who has hit the ground running and has worked very diligently with local law enforcement and other emergency personnel. He and I kept very close contact during our 2 recent ice storms and spent more time together than probably either one of us wanted to. But it worked out very well in the fact that we were able to coordinate activities of things that were going on. We've also hired 2 additional SROs this year, and we currently have 20 SROs in 19 of our schools. We have planned and conducted 535 crisis drills for the current year. Our compliance with safety regulations, you may remember that recently a local news station concluded that out of the 4 local school districts, Berkeley County School District was the only school district that had completed 100% of its drills for every elementary, middle, and high school in the district. We've also conducted an active shooter drill at Cane Bay Middle School on October the 17th, and tomorrow we'll have an active intruder and abduction drill that is planned at H.E. Bonner Elementary School. Additional safety and security. We have posted jurisdictional signs on every school campus to remind folks as they come on campus that they are under the jurisdiction of either a local municipal police department or the Berkeley County Sheriff's Department. We are very proud of our school fire marshal reports, particularly at St. Stephen Elementary and St. Stephen Middle School. Very recently, about 2 weeks ago, those 2 schools received a 100% compliance rating, which is extremely rare. Once again, having been a principal, I know that how nitpicky those folks can be, and rightfully so, but we are very proud of the fact that these 2 schools, they received no violations whatsoever. Cameras on all of our school buses have been installed on all active buses, and installation is in progress for our activity buses. Visitor management system is currently installed in 5 of our schools where we can do ID checks on folks that come in as visitors with their driver's license. The RFP was received last week for the remaining schools, and if the board approves the recommendation this evening, installation in the remaining schools will be completed by May the 1st of 2014. We're also participating in a new program called Safe Schools, where we will have available to us multiple online safe training systems available for our employees, including general safety orientation, fire safety, bloodborne pathogens, bullying, workplace safety, child abuse identification, and many others. And this will place our district in line with national and state safety and risk management standards. Opening the door to 2014-15. We know that our students and adults come to us in all shapes and sizes, colors, creeds, religions, as well as gifts academically and physically. And so we need to continue to make sure that we are providing a safe and secure environment for our staff and for our students, and it is in order to foster that caring learning environment. Our administration recommends this evening the focus areas for 2014, that we enhance the student's sense of belonging and purpose through structured learning communities. And this is particularly true as we look at our high schools changing to career academies, and also we will have 9th grade academies in all of our high schools for next year, creating that sense of smaller learning environment in a mass of 1,600 students, so that the student knows that they are a person and someone knows my name. Partnering with the Berkeley Mental Health to provide additional mental health counselors in our schools. Our special needs department is working very diligently with them to make this happen. The Safe Schools online system that I mentioned earlier will be fully operational. Screens of software for volunteers and employee applicants will be enhanced. Our new application screening software, previously we did SLED checks on individuals, which of course is just South Carolina. Our new system that we have in place will be able to do background checks that will cross 34 states, including South Carolina, so this is an improvement. We will be updating the district crisis manual to make sure that we are in compliance with the changes that are going on throughout the country. This is something that law enforcement particularly is always making some additional changes to. Our goal is to add additional school nurses. We still have 3 schools that do not have school nurses. Add additional school resource officers, and increase the amount of fresh fruits and vegetables served in our school cafeterias. We will continue to provide quarterly reports on new construction, renovations, and capital improvement projects related to the 10-year capital building plan. We want to complete within the next year the additions and renovations to Stratford High School, complete the construction of the new Nexton Elementary School, and complete the renovations to Cross High School. And I'll be happy to answer any questions that anyone may have.
Dr. Thompson.
Before we open it to questions, I'd just like to make one comment. The presentation tonight by Mr. Franchini is a series of presentations that's a follow-up to our report to the community from 2 weeks ago. So we'll have a series of presentations that focus on each one of our 6 goals over the next 2 months. So tonight we looked at positive school climate, and in a few minutes Sharon Snyder will talk about the strategic planning process that we're going through now and how the board members can be involved in that. So we'd like to open it up to any questions for Mr. Franchini.
Ms. Moore.
Yes, my question is, you mentioned about small learning environment, and I'd like to know, do you have anything in place to really lower class sizes across the district to 20 the most? If you have 20 students in a class, can we have an assistant?
I think at the only grade level that we have less than 20 to 1 is first grade. I think first grade is 18 to 1 with an assistant. I mean, and kindergarten has the assistant at 24 to 1, but first grade is 18 to 1. And then second grade, you guys help me, goes to 25 to 1 through the 12th grade. I would say we would love the lower class size, and if we could get our base student costs raised from the state level, that would be one of the first priorities. But if we went from, just for an example, and I'm pulling this from past memory, if we went from 25 to 1 to 24 to 1, I think we're looking at about $1.3 million just to lower it by 1. So it would take a large investment from the state level for us to be able to drastically improve that, Ms. Moore.
And my question is, the federal government doesn't have any input, they don't give any funds for lowering class sizes. And I'm asking that because, those children are really those who need individual help. One teacher can't keep order and give them the help that they really need. Yeah. So we really need to lower, try and do it.
You are correct, and just for clarification, in some of our Title I schools, the Title I schools, we can use some federal funds for class size reduction in those schools, and that's implemented in our rural schools or Title I schools to make it better than 25 to 1.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, our next item is an item for action. Dr. Thompson?
Right, and I'm going to take that from here, if I may, and I appreciate the comments earlier by Mr. Dick, and I will say this to you and all our folks in the audience, and we've had several years before we've had to deal with inclement weather, and we would have never predicted 4 days this year that we missed. So I will tell you that we've learned from the difficult situation that we're in this year, and next year's instructional calendar, our inclement weather days are built in for February 13th, March 20th, and April the 6th, none of which are on a holiday, and all 3 days are prior to any major assessments that we have. One of the things when we look at our state assessments, the state tells us the date of a state assessment for a end of course exam, pass testing, HSAP testing, so we don't have the opportunity to delay that at a local level. Our graduation dates have been set a year in advance. People make travel plans for those, and we reserve the Coliseum at a large expense, which would be difficult to rent that place. It's the only place large enough in the area to accommodate our large crowds of graduation ceremonies indoors. So I will say that we've addressed that for next year and hope that we don't have to that we won't get back in this situation again. At our last board meeting, we amended our instructional calendar to accommodate for 2 days. in the state legislature, the first House bill stated that the local boards would be able to forgive the days. It went to the Senate and came back from the Senate with an amendment attached to it that you could forgive up to 5 days, but you have to make up the 3 days that are required to be part of your instructional calendar. So we listed those 2 days on April 21st and May 26th at our last meeting for our 2 days. So we still have to make up 1 instructional day. Tonight, and I tried to put a informational sheet there at your packet to try to explain how we're going to make up the 1 additional day. But our graduations will be complete by Monday, June 2nd. So we're going to ask that on May 29th, that become a full day for high school students, and May 30th, a whole day for students. And if you add the halves that we've already completed based on last board meeting and the halves tonight, if you do the math, we come up with 3. So tonight, the administration recommends that the board amend the district's instructional calendar to accommodate for their loss of instructional time due to inclement weather by making May 29th for high school students, make that a full day, make May 30th a whole day for all students. So I'll repeat that if you want to, and I guess if we get a motion, I'll entertain any questions. May 29th, a full day for high school students. May 30th, a whole day for all students, to get to the total of 3.
Do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, you do. I move that the board approve the administration's recommendation to amend the district's instructional calendar to accommodate for the loss of instructional time due to inclement weather, making May 29th for high school students, that becomes a full day, and May 30th becomes a whole day for all students.
Do I have a second?
Second, Madam Chair.
I have a motion by Ms. Schwalbe and a second by Mr. Wright. Is there any discussion? No questions for Dr. Thompson?
The
Mr.
Senate has it gone through the House, the final Senate bill? It's supposed to go through the House and go to the governor's desk, correct?
It's gone through the Senate, backed by the House. It's in the process of being ratified by the House. We expect it to the governor's desk on Thursday or Friday. She would have 5 days to sign at that point. But our communication from our Administrators Association has indicated that she's going to sign the bill as it is, because it gives local authority to the districts after the 3 days are made up.
I have a concern that for Thursday, May 29th, high school final exams, half day, high school only. There are so many high school students, I understand, that are exempt from exams anyway with a certain grade. So they generally don't attend school that day anyway. And it's certainly not an instructional day. And then on May 30th, the last day for students, I don't know how many of y'all have been in a school on the last day, but there's very little instruction going on in reality. So I would like to ask, were other days considered, and if so, to what extent? I don't think either of these days are going to add to the instructional value of our educational system by making them whole days.
Well, thank you, Dr. Etheridge. The alternative is we have to make up 3 days. So we're looking. We've got April 21st and May 26th. So we're looking for that 3rd day. So you're I would tell you the options that we had to look at are either on Saturdays, spring break, or June 2nd or 3rd, which would be similar to the situation that you just described as the 29th or the 30th. At least the 29th and the 30th are for examinations prior to graduation at most of our schools. We do have school that graduates at 11:30 on Friday the 30th.
Well, I understand the difficulty, and I know we're probably in a situation where we really don't have any choice, but I would recommend that we perhaps plan better, much better in the future for something like this. If I remember correctly, in a lot of cases, enrollment has even stopped being taken by this time in the school year. So if these students don't show up, they're just not there, and there's no record of it. So anyway, I just wanted to make the comment.
Yeah, I think this administration fully understands the dilemma, and we've done our best to correct it for next year, as I explained how we put those and make inclement weather days prior to any testing.
Thank you.
Any further questions or comments? Mr. Cooper.
The point of clarification on the instructional calendar for next year, those inclement weather days are already included. We don't have to amend that.
You already approved that calendar that we did on.
And that was with, all those days are prior.
Yep. I'm looking at next year's instructional calendar that was approved February 25th. February 13th, March 20th, and April 6th are the inclement weather days.
All right. Thank you.
Can I make another comment?
No, sir. All right, any further comments or questions? All right, hearing none, I will call the question. All those in favor of, well, let me reread the motion. Ms. Schwalbe read that she moves that the board approve the administration's recommendation to amend the district's instructional calendar to accommodate for the loss of instructional time due to inclement weather. For May 29th, for all high school students to become a full day, and May 30th to become a whole day for all students. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. All right. It is unanimous. It has been approved. I would like to make a motion that we change the makeup day for the inclement weather makeup day from May 29th to June 2nd. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, May 26th to June 2nd. Is there a second?
Say that again.
I'd like to make a motion that we change the inclement weather makeup day from May 26th to June 2nd. So that would allow us to put May 26th back as a holiday. Yes, ma'am. No second?
I second it.
Second.
Who had second? I'm sorry.
I second it.
Mr. Wright.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, I guess I will open that up to discussion now. Some questions.
Dr. Thompson, do we know what the other school districts, Charleston and Dorchester, have done so far?
I talked to the superintendent of Dorchester too, and they already had plans for 2. They were looking for a 3rd day, just as we were, and they haven't taken action to the board. I know they're looking at Memorial Day, looking at the Monday. They have all their graduations on Saturday, which is May 30th, May 31st. So they would, if they're in the same situation as us, if they had school on June 2nd, it would be after graduation and after final exams. So Charleston County hasn't decided their final makeup days.
I think if we approve that motion and just move the high school final exam days up to Friday and the last day for students up to that Monday, I see no problem with that, holding in reserve the fact that if the legislators allow us to forgive another day, that we forgive that one.
I just, we do have graduation scheduled on Monday, June the 2nd. We have Stratford High School, 10 o'clock, Timberland High School at 2 o'clock. So we have to make accommodations for those schools.
3 of our high schools will graduate.
And 3 of them would have graduated on Friday before. Actually 4, because Cross graduates on Thursday evening. And to clarify on exemption of exams, that's a policy for our seniors. Our underclassmen don't have that privilege.
You know, this is, excuse me, Madam Chair, but this is something that we can't control. I mean, and it's a difficult situation, and we got the motion that is already on the floor. I've seconded. And I think that we need to move on because we're going to go back and forth with a day here, a day there. And at the end of the school year, we all know what it's like. So it's nothing new. I mean, so we're just going to have to accept it for what it is and move on. I mean, we'll be here all night discussing the same matter, and you're going to come up with the same answer pretty much. I don't think it's going to change much. So I think we need to just call for the vote and move on.
Well, I would like to make a comment, and the reason for my motion tonight, well, I guess I'll start with why I voted for the Memorial Day holiday to become a school day. It was never meant to, and I did speak to Mr. Dick and several other people, it was never meant to be a slap in the face to anybody. It was never about being un-American or not honoring those who have fallen for in line or in wars or put their life on the line for our country. It was meant for instruction. That's our job. We have to do what's best for children, and it is not always popular. It is not easy. I can promise you this seat is not fun. None of these seats are fun. And to make a decision like that is very hard. And what we have to ask ourselves, and what I asked myself before that vote was, is this what's best for kids? Is this the best thing that we can do for instruction for our kids? And my vote was yes. But that also conflicted with the people in my area. And I am a representative, and I've heard from a fair amount of people in my area, and that's why I have made this motion tonight. Because I don't think that either day is great. I don't think that either day is going to have a huge turnout. But I have to do what's best for children and what's the people in my area have called for. So that's where I sit. Yes, sir, Mr. Cooper.
I guess I've got a question and a statement, I guess. The question is, I guess, are we in compliance with the state regulations by having a makeup day when over 50% of our high schools will have graduated already? And those kids are gone and with diplomas in hand. I mean, we may as well make it July 22nd at that point, or June 29th. I mean, is that in compliance by having it be that day? I guess that's my first question.
You know, when you talk about compliant, you have to get those 80 days of instruction in. When you have inclement weather days, I think that is extended out to what you have listed on your calendar. When we amended the calendar at our last meeting, we made up 2, and we still had June 2nd on the calendar. So tonight's motion took June 2nd away, and we pieced it in with half days to try to get back with them with that time frame of graduation. And I understand at any time you have to have the last day of school, and everyone remembers what the last day of school is, so you have to end it at some point. We just feel the administration feels that it's less, the most benefit for instruction. It allows to have meaningful exams, tests, prior to extending it past that weekend. And I know that's a difficult situation that we have to decide on. But taken into that Monday, in essence, could be the last day for teachers, and they're going to have students there at the same time.
My opinion is any change, I don't like Memorial Day being used either, but the conversation last time was we had to get days in prior to the end of the testing and graduation, because we've got contracts for the Coliseum. I think it's crazy to move it to June 2nd for all the reasons and everything there. If you're going to move it and it's going to be impacted, and you're going to make a tough decision, it ought to be April 14th, the first day of spring break. And spring break should only be 4 days long. But I know that's a very unpopular with both the teachers and the parents, because people have, already bought hotel reservations and tickets to Disney World and everything else, and that's the heat. But that gets you a day of instruction prior to the end of the school year and testing. But to me, to have any makeup day after we've graduated over 50% of our kids, we're kidding ourselves. So.
Any other comments or questions?
Well, for the number of students that will probably be in attendance, we also have Saturday, May 31st. That's a possibility.
We have graduations that day as well.
No, graduations are on Friday and Monday.
Thursday, Friday, and Monday.
That's a scheduled teacher work day.
No, that's what a lot of the public or parents said.
Would your motion free up for Memorial Day?
Yes, ma'am. The motion was to take the instructional day from May 26th, which is Memorial Day, to June 2nd, which is the Monday after graduation, or on graduation.
Okay.
Okay. I believe I will call the question. All those in favor? Oh, I'm sorry.
I would just think we need, my recommendation is to clarify the motion so people know what they're voting on, because the motion read to move Memorial Day, May 26th to June 2nd. Is that correct?
The instructional day, yes.
So not any other days, May 26th to June 2nd.
Yes, and I will restate that. The motion was to move the inclement weather makeup day from May 26th, which is Memorial Day, to Monday, June 2nd. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So let's do a show of hands. All those in favor?
You got 4.
4? Okay. And then those opposed? All right. All right. The motion has passed.
Now we might, I don't know if this is appropriate time, but we've made, we need to look at it there, where we got half days and full days, and we've extended some time. We moved a full day to a full day, so there's no other option.
Okay. All right, our next item of business is financial services. Mr. Franchini.
And please don't ask me any financial questions beyond what I'm about to present to you tonight. The administration recommends the awarding of a contract to Paper Handling Solutions for a new Horizon booklet maker. This is going to be used at Hanahan High School in the graphics art department for the binding and finishing of booklets, and this is being paid for by federal funds through the CTE program. And the amount is $62,488.80, and this was a sole source vendor.
Okay, do I have a motion? Oh,
Yep.
yes, sir.
Madam Vice Chair, I move that we approve IFB 403 for new Standard Horizon booklet maker to Paper Handling Solutions at a cost of $62,488.80 as presented by Mr. Franchini in Board Agenda Item 7A.
I second.
All right. I have a motion by Mr. Cooper and a second by Ms. Schwalbe. Is there any question or discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of approving IFB 404, New Standard Horizon Booklet Maker, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. It has been approved.
The administration also recommends that a contract be awarded to Raptor Technologies, LLC, for the new visitor management system to be installed in all of our schools. This is a 7-year contract at a total cost of $179,920. And this was the system that you remember that I mentioned in my presentation. Through this system, individuals come in, they'll swipe their driver's license. It will immediately tell if they're on the sex offenders list. We'll also be able to program in individual schools if we have custodial issues where we have a non-custodial parent that's not allowed to see, that will be flagged. We also hope that as we go through this system that we'll be able to even use this with our employees when they come in. They can swipe their badges and not have to sign in, and we can have a record of who's there and not. Again, the recommendation is for Raptor Technologies, LLC.
Do I have a motion?
Yes, you do, Madam Vice Chair. I move that we approve RFP 405 for visitor management system to Raptor Technologies, LLC, at a cost of $179,920, as presented by Mr. Franchini in Board Agenda Item 7B.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. A motion by Mr. Cooper and a second by Dr. Etheridge. Open it up to discussion or questions.
Does that replace the current check-in system that's there? They still have to swipe it and then check in?
We only have 5 schools that have this system. We have some other schools that have it just where they just really prints a name tag. It will replace all of those like that. Other than the 5 schools that have the Raptor system already, of course, it would not replace it. So this is really a step up from those that I think you're talking about, Mr. Obey. And I apologize, I did not indicate this was from QZAB funds.
Thank you. All right, any other questions for discussion? All right, hearing none, I will call the question. All those in favor of approving 405-1314 RFP Visitor Management System, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, the motion has been approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, our next item on the agenda is instruction and accountability with Dr. O'Gorman.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Thompson, ladies and gentlemen. I'm quickly going to turn this over to Ms. Schneider, who is going to go over our annual strategic plan, which we go through every year. And then Mr. Davis is going to talk about our 5-year accreditation process.
Thank you, Dr. O'Gorman. Welcome, Madam Chair Lee, Superintendent Dr. Thompson, and members of the board. Like Dr. Thompson mentioned earlier, I would like to walk you through our district strategic planning process this evening. District strategic plans and school renewal plans are required by the State Education Regulation 43-261. As you know, these plans are developed by each school and district using the most current research-based practices designed to increase student achievement. As we go through our strategic plan and we put our plan together, once we finish, we upload it into an online state application system which directly goes to the State Department of Education, and this is due on or before April 30th. At that time, the district plans are reviewed by the Office of Federal and State Accountability at the State Department, and typically they give us feedback by the end of July regarding our plan for that particular year. It seems like yesterday that we were introducing our new goals and our strategies, but actually our initial 5-year plan was actually developed in 2011 and 12. And we are currently in year 4 of our 5-year strategic plan. We've seen this slide before. Our 6 district goals are aligned under the state's overarching goals, which are student achievement, school climate, and teacher administrator quality. 2 years ago, we added Common Core State Standard as our priority goal. As we reflect on our goals this year, we may continue to keep this goal, revise it, or create a new district priority goal. This continuous cycle mirrors the collaborative process we have in place for working on our district plan along with the school renewal plans at the school level. This slide focuses on the specific steps in our planning process. Our plan consists of goals, action steps, and strategies. We use different types of data and evidence to monitor the progress and outcomes of our goals. Examples of our data that we may look at are assessments, program evaluation, audits, growth trends, and lots of surveys. All of the information collected is shared with all the stakeholders, which may include district and school level administrators, teachers, parents, business partners, and community members through PLCs, meetings, and trainings. Once that feedback is collected and provided, the revisions are made to our plan. Board members review and sign off on the district plan, and the school renewal plans are submitted to the district. Unless it's their first year, then at that time, the school renewal plans are not only submitted to the district, but to the State Department of Education as well. Each of our goals have focus areas that are priorities for that particular year. You just heard Mr. Franchini just report on the focus areas for school climate. Again, these are a list of all of our 6 goals. As I mentioned earlier, feedback from our stakeholders is an essential component in our process. One effective way to either target and direct information is to utilize surveys to collect this information. Last year, all of you had the opportunity to complete the survey and provide feedback to our plan, along with the school renewal plans, when we had the opportunity to participate with the schools and listen to their sharing of their plans as well. The results from last year's board survey showcased that we needed to grow in these areas shown on the slide. We have strategies in place to address these areas, which include, for the first point, administration and facilities typically submit a monthly executive report, and also quarterly reports are provided on new construction, renovations, and capital improvement projects. Also, a timeline of major projects through August 2018 is included. There is also a page on our district's website which is devoted to sharing reports, photos, and updates of all these projects. This page is updated on a regular basis. A maintenance replacement schedule is being developed and is currently a work in progress. Increased public support is evident through the increase in our civic, business, and individual partnerships which support our schools. For example, Google's Computer Science After School program, the agencies and businesses supporting our high school academies, such as the Locals Chambers of Commerce, AAIS, Transform South Carolina, Alcoa are just a few of our companies and agencies that do support our schools within Berkeley County. Dr. O'Gorman, Amy Kovach, and Tana Lee have also reported on many of these partnerships throughout the year. Our website provides a wealth of information to our parents and community members. Also, our phone system and social media, our Facebook page, are also other avenues to reach out to our parents. A parent summit was in place, but the ice storm, of course, left us to have to postpone that event to another time. Also, communication with you, our school board members, has continually evolved through Dr. Thompson's strategic planning of presentations shared at each board meeting. And also, school sites have been placed and visits have been in place, weekly and emergency updates, workshops, and the annual report to the community that Dr. Thompson shared with you at the last board meeting. Hopefully, we have shown some considerable growth in some of these areas. Your input is valuable and critical as we work through and move forward the strategic planning process for the 2014-15 school year. We have revised our survey from last year, and we would like you to take the survey next week between March 11th and the 18th. We will email you the link later on this evening so that you can have the information to take the survey. As we look at the information, we'll take the information, and once the survey closes, we'll compile the information, and then Dr. Thompson will share the results with you. Also, Dr. Thompson has placed, and he's working on putting workshops together to involve all of you in our strategic planning process, which would be looking at our goals and revisiting our focus areas as well, and strategies that support those goals. Okay? Thank you. Are there any questions?
Any questions or comments? Ms. Snyder?
I'll make one comment. Our strategic plan, unfortunately, we have same principles and focus on continuous improvement. Even though the document is due April the 30th, we're allowed to revise it at any point during the year. So we'll have our proposed areas of focus that will be part of the document, and then when we have our workshop based after all the series of presentations take place, then we will, any strategies we need to amend or add or delete, we can do at any time during the process.
Thank you.
Mr. Davis.
Good evening, Dr. Thompson, Madam Chair, members of the school board. If you can think back to the year 2010, Berkeley County School District engaged in a comprehensive review to determine the overall effectiveness of the system and how well the system impacted student achievement. In 2015-2016, we will engage in that same process once again to determine the overall effectiveness of the system and how well we are doing as a system to improve student achievement. So tonight, what I would like to do is to give you an overview of the advanced ed accreditation process and to present a timeline and how we're going to approach this project, to approach getting ready. So the advanced ed community is one of the world's largest educational networks with over 27,000 public and private schools throughout the United States, as well as 69 countries worldwide. It includes all departments of defense schools, 15 million students, and 18,000 volunteers, and more than 3 million teachers. The process is comprehensive. If you can look at the slide, it includes public, non-public, post-secondary, and international institutions. It involves professional learning, innovation, information, and educational technologies to keep up with current trends that are going on globally throughout the world. The cornerstone of advanced ed is that we meet the standards for overall organizational effectiveness, and this includes both our school systems as well as our schools. If you can think back to the year 2010, when we went through the accreditation process, the majority of the work was done at the district level. And as we go through the slide presentation, you'll see that it's changed somewhat. And the other cornerstone is that we engage in continuous improvement, and we look at it from a systems perspective, and we demonstrate quality assurance. And that includes an internal self-assessment, as well as we have to host an external review every 5 years. So what is district accreditation? It's an international protocol for schools, school districts committed to systematic, and sustainable improvement. And when you look at the process, the method is an overall method for determining how well parts of the system work together to meet the needs of students at the district level as well as at the school level. Next slide. District accreditation ensures all people, processes, departments, and operations of the system work together in concert to achieve our vision. And our school district's vision is to challenge and empower our students to be successful in a highly competitive world. We're just not competing here in the Low Country, but it's throughout the world. The two key things that I want to focus your attention on, if you look at bullet number, if you look at those bullets right there, the first bullet, these are the two most important factors when you're looking at district accreditation, bullet number 1 as well as bullet number 5. So it ensures that all people, processes, and departments are working together in the system in concert together. And we promote continuous improvement, non-episodic continuous improvement. All right, not just episode. All right, next slide. So benefits of district accreditation. When you look at those overall benefits, the most important factor that I want to focus your attention on is this, is that parents and students residing in accredited school systems, they experience ease in transferring their student credits from one school to another. So if they move from South Carolina to Georgia to New York, if they see their accreditation on their transfer papers, then it's well recognized. Our students gain greater access for federal loans, scholarships, post-secondary education, and military programs that require students to attend an accredited institution. So it has huge impact. Another benefit is this from the institution of an educational system is a commitment to raising students' levels of achievement as well as accountability within the system. So let's look at the changes. If you can remember, in 2010, the old standards consisted of 7 standards, and those 7 standards are listed there: vision and purpose, governance and leadership, teaching and learning, documenting and using results, resources and support systems, stakeholder communications and relationships, and commitment to continuous improvement. Advanced Ed to somewhat streamline the process now. We have 5 standards. 5 standards now: purpose and direction, governance and leadership, teaching and assessing for learning, and resources and support, and system support. So what is different is that those standards are reduced to 5 now as opposed to 7. We had 7 in 2010, now it's 5. And the indicators within each standard has decreased as well. So let's take a look at the new standards and why the new standards. The new standards focus on teaching and learning. The new standards that focus on teaching and learning has increased significantly when you look at the new standards. The new standards address preparing students with skills they will need for the future and include high expectations for professional practice. The new standards require increased rigor, including, for example, demonstrated growth in student learning and achievement, a commitment to developing learning, thinking, and life skills for students, and formal structures whereby each student is well known. Throughout each standard, what you have embedded in those standards are continuous improvement, stakeholder involvement, student engagement, collaboration, equity, and personalization of learning. All of those things that we've talked about tonight. Other changes is that if you could think back to 2010, is that the standard rubrics were like this: highly functional, operational, emerging, and not evident. Those are the rubrics. These are the rubrics that scored each individual standard. At the end of the process this time, we will receive what you call an index of educational quality. And that index of educational quality includes teaching and learning impact, leadership capacity, and resource utilization. So looking at the slide, so you have your 5 standards. You get an overall index of educational quality, which consists of all of the 39 total indicators. Every indicator in that index of educational quality is weighted the same. Broken down into their respective components, you have teaching and learning impact, which consists of standards 3 and 5, student performance. And then you have your leadership capacity, which consists of standards 1 and 2, stakeholder feedback. There's 11 indicators there to leadership capacity, and 100 standard 4, which is resource utilization, 7 indicators total. So when you look at the overall makeup, and I bet many of you are wondering, okay, well, why is the index of educational quality broken down into those 3 components, but you get an overall score? Remember, if you can think back, it's a process of continuous improvement. So perhaps if we score 321 in this particular area on teaching and learning impact, it gives you specific indicator, it tells you which specific indicators you need to work on to continue improving, as well as with leadership capacity, as well as with resource utilization. So at the end of that process, other status changes are as follows. Possible statuses: in 2010, we received either accredited on advisement, and there were some things that we had to work on, accredited WARN, accredited probation. We received accredited in 2010. The possible statuses now are accredited and non-accredited, and we want to always fall within that range of accredited. What's also new is this. In 2010, when we went through accreditation, the majority of the work was done at the district. The district had to submit what you call an accreditation, a comprehensive report, which included self-assessments, executive summaries, stakeholder perception surveys, profiles, accreditation assurances, improvement plans, and student performance results. Schools will now have to conduct their own self-assessment similar to the old way, and as well as submit a comprehensive, an accreditation, a comprehensive report. And the school's report will become part of the overall index of educational quality that we'll receive at the end of the accreditation process. So tonight, what I would like to do is recommend an accreditation timeline. So over the next 12 months, this is the timeline that we will use to be prepared for our external review team visits. Our team is slated to visit us November the 1st through November 4th, 2015. In the meantime, we'll be following these major activities, conducting these major activities to get ready for the visit. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Mr. Cooper.
Yeah, on the, I guess it's the ACR that the individual schools will have to fill out. How involved and comprehensive, and what's your estimate of the time involved compared to what it was at the district level? Because that was very, I'll say, intrusive.
It's intense.
into the daily lives of everybody.
Yes, sir. Well, similar to what the system, the teams that we served on last in 2010, schools will have to go through a similar process, meaning that they'll have to have individual teams to work on individual standards. So the process will be a lot like the district. It's about a 3-month process. It's going to take some time. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, it's very intensive, and one of the things where we're presenting the timeline tonight is the visit is actually 18 months away, so we want to start planning and preparing so it doesn't come down to it where it's crammed into a very short period of time.
Right. My concern is you know, the district had to put together this very comprehensive plan and a very comprehensive set of data. There's a very comprehensive set of interviews that took place and research was done to validate our data points and all that the first time we did this. I don't see anybody at Advanced Ed looking at 39 or 40 of these things the same size of what we're doing for the district. And I want to make sure that if they're doing this effort, that it's something that's a valid use of effort. And I guess my comment would be, let's ensure whatever they're using, or you know, we are using a lot of the things you put in a lot of new tools and resources, a lot of continuous improvement, using data, all those things. Hopefully there's not much reinventing the wheel versus wrapping up what we already do.
Right.
Because I think we're well down that road, but that sounds to me like just a tremendous burden for each school.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Moore.
Yes, in regard to equity, when you mention equity, do you really examine the resources at all of the schools to see if the resources are sort of equal?
Yes, ma'am. Part of those indicators in that standard, which addresses resources, requires us to look at fiscal accountability, our FTEs at the various schools, and how we utilize the resources to impact student achievement at the school. So we look at the overall picture in terms of how well we distribute our finances to support student learning, the teachers that we have in our school, and the like. So it does look at that. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Etheridge.
I guess I misunderstood when we first went to Advanced Ed, but it was my understanding at that time that we were going to change our accreditation process in support of what Mr. Cooper's been relating to, because the SACS accreditation every 3 and 5 years took so much time away from instruction at the school level that if we went to Advanced Ed, we became accredited at the district level, and our umbrella embraced accreditation at all the various schools. Are we now, has Advanced Ed changed, or did I just misunderstand that to begin with?
That's a great question. And based on my research and the work that I've done thus far to get prepared, the old SACS is a part of what the Advanced Ed accreditation process now. So the old method that SACS used, Southern Association of Schools, have joined forces with Advanced Ed to make this process fluid. I know the change is, you're absolutely right. When we went through this in 2010, the majority of the work was done at the district level, which is, we had teams where principals and schools served on. They have facilitated a change, and that change is that schools now will have to conduct their own internal their own self-assessment, and then actually complete that accreditation report and upload it. In terms of the intensity of how they used to go out and visit every single school to look at the artifacts and all of those things, that won't happen. There will be some schools that they'll visit, as in the past. I think it was 10 the last time. They'll still visit, not all of our schools, but it will be a pretty large, it will be a representative of what the school district looks like, the overall makeup of our school district. What will actually help us get that index of educational quality is the information that is shared in each individual accreditation report that is submitted by the school. So all of those indicators that the schools look at and review will become part of the overall index of educational quality that we receive at the very end. But in terms of visiting the schools, every school, and a team visiting every school as in the past for SACS, that will not happen, but they will visit some of our schools as in the past.
For those districts that did not adopt advanced ed, are they now just held to the standards of Southern Association? Or, I guess what I'm asking, are we now committed, are our schools committed to meet the standards of 2 accreditation organizations?
No, sir. SACS is a part of advanced ed now. The old Southern, the SACS committee and the old SACS has joined forces with advanced ed. So it's the overall umbrella now is advanced ed. It's no longer a SACS.
SACS merged with advanced ed. And,
so there's only one type of accreditation.
Right, and we're required, state regulations require us to have a formal accreditation policy, process. I think advanced ed pretty much has a monopoly on it in the state of South Carolina. And for those new to the board, prior to 2010, each school had to get their individual accreditation. So we had 41 accreditations in our school district. So changing in 2010 when SACS and advanced ed merged, then we were allowed to get 1 district accreditation. Since 2010, they've changed their procedures a little bit and now have gone back to looking at individual schools as well, but still just giving 1 accreditation for the district. And if you've read in the paper, we've had some school districts in the state of South Carolina that have recently been successful and some that have not been so successful and have some work to do. So we're going to start this planning process early and get this ship where it needs to be prior to November 2015.
It used to be that only high schools were required to be accredited. Elementary and middle were at the option of the district. Is that still the case?
All of the schools are a part of the process. It's not just
by state requirement or by district choice?
It's by state requirement. So all of our schools have to have accreditation.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Back to the screen where you had the indexes. Mm-hmm. The numbers that you had there, are those numbers for Berkeley County? Because if so, we're only batting 70%.
No, this is the sample. This is just an example. No, sir.
Okay.
We didn't. In 2010, we didn't receive an index of educational quality. It was we received an overall accredited status, and each one of those indicators were weighted differently. And so, in fact, I think I have it in there. We received highly operational in 2 of the standards, and all of the rest of those standards were operational. So,
thank you, Mr. Davis.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Dr. Holman.
Good evening again. In your packets, you have a board agenda item specific to the adoption of grades 6 through 12 ELA textbook adoption for 2013-14. Also, College Prep Honors U.S. History and AP U.S. History. For grades 6 through 12 ELA, we are recommending collections by Houghton Mifflin Harcourt. For CP Honors U.S. History, we are recommending United States History Survey by Pearson. And for AP U.S. History, the American Pageant 15th edition by National Geographic Learning. Just want to say that we followed state and local policy and regs in terms of this adoption. This is a teacher decision. Committees of teachers made these decisions. We've got the textbooks on display in the back of the room. If you approve the first reading tonight, they'll be on display until our next board meeting.
I think we have to have a motion. Do you have a
I
motion?
just have a question, maybe before a
That's the
motion.
adoption year.
The reading says first reading of textbooks about adoptions for 13-14. That's this year.
That's right. It's
Shouldn't
the
it be
adoption of
14-15?
these texts they will be used in 14-15, but it is the adoption of the 13-14 school year because they are being adopted now. This is the adoption year.
But they're going to be used in 14.
They'll be used in 14-15. That's correct.
Thank you.
It confuses me as well.
Like everything else in the state, makes sense.
Do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the first reading of textbook adoptions as submitted by the administration in agenda item 8.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Mr. Obie and a second by Ms. Schwalbe. I will open the floor now to discussion and questions. All right, hearing none, I will call the question. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Has been approved unanimously.
Thank you.
Next item, we have our superintendent's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple of items tonight, as Mr. Franchini stated, and so for the information for all board members and the public, there will be an intruder abduction drill tomorrow at H.B. Bonner Elementary beginning at 8:30. The drill is part of the crisis planning and preparation for our district, and I'd like to thank our local emergency management officials for participating with us and emphasizing that safety is priority one for our community. And I'd just take a moment, if you recall, about 18 months ago at Goose Creek High School, maybe even a few more months longer than that, Dr. Morton presented information to the board in regards to the Leader in Me program at St. Stephen's Elementary. At St. Stephen's Elementary, the Leader in Me program practices Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People in the School Community. And as stated recently in the Berkeley Independent, the St. Stephen's Elementary Leader in Me program received Lighthouse status. Lighthouse status means St. Stephen's Elementary is an exemplar of what leadership in schools should look like and be. There are currently 70 Lighthouse schools in the entire world. St. Stephen's is officially now number 71 and the only school in Berkeley County to achieve this milestone. Congratulations to Dr. Norton and her staff. And we look forward to recognizing you and your students and your staff at a school board meeting in the near future. Thank you.
All right, our next item is to enter an executive session to discuss student attendance appeals, personnel considerations, contractual matters, and a legal briefing. Do I have a motion to move into executive session?
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Moore and a second by Dr. Etheridge. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right. We stand in executive session.